Hello Techies, welcome back to our channel UiPath by Sujita. In this video, we are going to learn about the key differences between full and partial selectors. We have learned an introduction about selectors, right? So, if you have not yet watched the video, please go through the video in our channel. Later, let us talk about full selectors and partial selectors. So quickly open your notepad and then a pen. Please take the key notes so that it will be easy for you to refer again whenever it is needed. So now it is full selectors and partial selectors. So first we'll give you a high level difference and later we'll see in depth about the key differences with a demo, right? Full selectors or the selectors, both the selectors actually, selectors are generated automatically when any UI element been indicated either through an activity or through a recorder, right? Let me make a note of this. Selectors are generated through automatically whenever any UI element being selected. I can say like indicated yes, been indicated through an activity or through a recorder, right? And this is like will be in XML fragment. So this is the definition of selectors, right? We have already learnt about this. Selectors are generated automatically whenever any UI element been indicated through an activity or through a recorder, and it will be in the XML, right? So now let us concentrate on full selectors and partial selectors. Full selectors are the selectors which are automatically generated along with the container selectors, containers path. Okay, the the name indicates full, right? It explains us better here. Full selectors. So the selectors contains the complete path of the UI element including the container, top level container, right? So let me give you a clear definition on this. And partial selector, coming to partial selectors, partial, right? It is itself can explains us better. Partial selectors or the selectors which doesn't contain the top level containers path. Okay, this will include only the the specific UI element path, not the relevant top level container. It will contain only the specific direct elements path, whereas in full selectors it will be including it includes the top level container path as well, right? Now let us see the key differences between these two. I'll be showing here in full selectors and partial selectors. Okay, now let us see. Please make a note of whatever we are discussing so far, so that it will be easy for you to remember. Also, you will never get confused about this. Okay, now let us see in detail. Suppose just let us take an example saying an open browser. Inside that you will be having some activity, say click activity. So the click activity should contain the complete selector path including its top level window. That means it's open browser windows path. So full selectors contains all the tags and attributes needed to identify a UI element including the top level window. Clear? Now partial selectors does not contain the tags and attributes related to its top level window. So it will contain only the tags and attributes which are needed to identify the UI element. That's it. Does not contain the tags and attributes related to its top level. Right? Clear? Now let us see the next difference. So this way you can guess something, right? The activities which has this full selectors, if the activities contains the full selector of a UI element, is it needed to keep that activity inside any browser, I mean to say open browser or open attach browser or open window kind of containers? No, right? So that is the next difference. Activities with full selectors are not included inside the containers because the activities itself has the complete path including the top level containers path, right? That is the reason it is no need to add these activities inside any containers. What we will do actually, say let us take one example. Let me show you, let us move on to the UiPath Studio where I have created a separate sequence for our selectors demo. Now, if I have an use application or browser, this one, whenever I add something like get attribute activity which contains a full selector, it doesn't needed to add this in a container, right? This works as a container which will redirect to the particular browser, right? Use application or browser, or in classic we can go for, in classic experience we can use attach browser or open browser kind of containers, right? So that is not required in case of full selectors. That's what I mean to say. Now, whereas partial selectors, activities with partial selectors must be inside the containers, right? So let us add the same. Activities with partial selectors, please note it down, must be enclosed within the containers. Okay, must be enclosed with containers. Okay, you got these two key differences, right? Now let us see this full selectors. How these full selectors been generated? These are generated by basic recorders. Okay, and these partial selectors are generated by desktop recorders. Okay, desktop recorders. Let us use this and let us understand this in detail in our demo. Okay, now let us concentrate on one more important difference between these two, that is when to go for full selectors and when to go for partial selectors. When we have multiple windows in our project, in our automated process, when we are going to work with multiple windows and our actions will be switching between multiple windows, in that scenarios it is always recommended to go with full selectors. Okay, best suited when switching between multiple windows, whereas the partial selectors best suited when multiple actions to be performed within a single window. Got the difference? If we are going to work on a same application, if we have only one application, whether it is a web application or a desktop application, in such scenarios partial selectors are best suited. Whereas if our work is going to be with multiple, switching between multiple windows, going full selectors is best suited. Okay, now one more difference is there, that is partial selectors especially or common in classic design experience, because in modern experience, the automatically this use browser application container is by default all the input and output activities are coming inside the container. So we have to take care of these partial selectors only in classic design experience. So these are the main key differences between partial and full selectors. Let us quickly recap all this before we go into demo. All the tags and attributes needed to identify a UI element, including top level window, or nothing but full selectors. But in partial selectors does not contain the tags and attributes related to its top level window. This is the main difference. If you keep this in mind, you will come to know the difference, and you can understand when to use which one. Okay. Next, activities with full selectors are not included inside the containers, right? Because it has the full path of the UI element. So no need to place these activities inside any container such as attached browser or open browser, etc. But whereas partial selectors does not contain the full path, right, of the does not contain the path of its container. So that is the reason the activities with partial selectors should be kept inside the containers, because containers will have its own selectors, right? I mean to say the path to recognize the browser and all. So if we keep the activities with partial selectors inside that containers, then our work is done. So next one is generated by basic recorders. Full selectors are generated by basic recorders, whereas partial selectors are generated by desktop recorders. Full selectors are best suited when we have multiple windows in our project, and partial selectors are very much supportive if we go for if our more work is related to single window. And partial selectors are especially common in classic design experience. Now quickly move to our studio. Okay, now let me remove this, and this is not required. Save it. Let me remove this part. Okay, now let me switch this back to our okay, fine. This is in modern experience actually, so I could not able to remove this configure point, and okay, fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our RPA challenge website using our app web recorder. Okay, now let us just concentrate on the full partial selectors. Just a demo how this excuse me, full and partial selectors looks like. Okay, now let me use the app web recorder in order to select this particular thing. You can practice with rpachallenge.com, or you can go with any other website on your handy. Okay, now I'm going to give it as Sujita. Right on click of this, so if you could see here inside, let me expand this. I'm just saving this. So let us go back and just open this properties of this particular activity. You can just open this, right? So let me open the same in our let me open the same in editor. Okay, fine. So this way you can see this particular selector, right? It is inside the use browser prune. This is inside the container. So it is having, this is in an XML fragment, whereas let me open this in our UI Explorer for better visibility, and let us start editing it. Let me try to edit the same. Okay, edit the target, edit the descriptor. And when I use this over, if you see here, strict selector, which is referring to exactly this particular selector, whereas it is not showing any details about the browser, say RPA challenge, etc. Right? On click of confirmation, if we go back to this particular selector here, using our if you see here, it has the HTML data and all, right? It is showing the complete data of Chrome. The app is Chrome and the website is this particular RPA challenge. So if the information is related to the container, then it is called as the full selector. Whereas if the what to say, selector is containing only the let me show you this. Yeah, only the what to say, only related to that particular element, that is nothing but your partial selector. Partial selectors will not work alone unless you place the activity inside any container. Got it? So this is the main difference of this particular full and partial selectors. I hope you got a clear information on it. So if you like this video, please do share with your friends and colleagues, and please subscribe our channel for more videos. Click on the bell icon and select all options so that you will never miss the notifications from our channel. Thank you so much for your support so far. Meet you through our next videos. Until then, keep watching our videos. Happy learning and happy automating. Bye bye.